Hey my loves, summer is finally upon us, and what better way to celebrate than with 3 incredible summer-inspired dessert recipes. Today I've got a crisp, a crumble, and a cobbler for you, and of course they all feature tons of amazing summer fruit. Get your spoons and your forks ready because things are about to get real delicious. We're kicking things off today with a beautiful plum crisp. Now what I love about this recipe is not only is it super delicious, it is also completely vegan and wheat-free, making it perfect if you're entertaining guests. We're getting started with about a dozen plums in our bowl. I've simply pitted them and quartered them. To that, I'm going to add some coconut sugar for sweetness and some cornstarch. Now, cornstarch is what helps one of these desserts become nice and sort of syrupy and gooey. That's really the secret. I'm also going to add a squeeze of lemon juice, and then you can just toss this all together and pour it into a well-greased baking dish. I say well-greased because, of course, this is going to get a little sticky and a little syrupy, and it can be a little hard to clean after the fact. Next, it is time to get to work on our crisp topping. Now, the distinguishing quality between a crisp and a crumble or a cobbler is that it's actually made with oats. And in this case, we are gonna get started with some old-fashioned oats in our bowl, like so. Then we are going to sweeten those up with a little bit of coconut sugar for sweetness. I'm also adding some crushed pecans for even more great texture. And finally, I am going to add some coconut oil. Now, traditionally, you would use butter in this recipe, but because I'm keeping this one vegan, coconut oil will work just as well. We're basically just gonna use our hands to give all of these ingredients a good toss until everything is well combined. And then it is a matter of just sprinkling this over top of our plums. I've got my oven preheated to 375 degrees Fahrenheit, and in this beauty goes for about 30 minutes or so. So your plums are gonna get nice and ooey gooey, and of course the top is going to get crispy and golden and delicious. Now guys, this dessert is already incredible all on its own, but if you want to take it way over the top, I highly recommend serving it with some vegan vanilla ice cream. You kind of can't lose with this recipe. Oh, and if you have any of that amazing crisp mixture left over, pop that in the oven on a baking sheet and bake it for 15 to 20 minutes. What you end up with is some seriously awesome granola. You're welcome. Next, I am making some incredible summer berry crumbles that of course celebrate the bounty of beautiful berries the summer has to offer. I am using some strawberries, some blueberries, and some blackberries in this recipe, but any type of berry will really work. Now in this case, I'm making these as individual berry crumbles in these little mason jars, but if you wanted to, you could just dump this all in a baking dish just as easily. Now I will warn you, you want to grease your baking dish or your mason jars really well because of course this loves to stick. Now I've got my strawberries in my bowl. To that I'm going to add my blackberries and some blueberries. I'm going to sweeten this up with some granulated sugar, add some cornstarch to help thicken the mixture up, and then squeeze in a good helping of lemon juice. I'm going to toss this mixture together until it's evenly coated, and then I'm going to divide it into each of my mason jars. You just know anything with this many beautiful summer berries in it can't taste bad. It's pretty much impossible to mess this up. Once you've got your mason jars filled, let's get ready to crumble. I was such a big wrestling fan in my day. Oh gosh, okay. I'm starting with some flour in my bowl. To that, I'm going to add some brown sugar. I'm also adding a little bit of cinnamon to this. That's totally optional. I just like the flavor contrast. I'm gonna add just a touch of salt, and then I'm going to add some cold butter. I'm just gonna use my hands to break up the butter until it becomes sort of a crumb-like consistency, and it is time to crumble this deliciousness over top of each of my jars. Into the oven these go at 350 degrees Fahrenheit for between 25 and 30 minutes. Now it's really important when you're baking with mason jars to keep that temperature low and slow. You don't want to rush things because of course your mason jars could break. These are going to come out of the oven blissfully bubbly. You're going to want to let them cool for just a few minutes before digging in. I absolutely love this dessert when I'm entertaining because of course you can serve them straight out of the oven and they just look oh so adorable. Finally, my loves, I cannot think of a more quintessential summer dessert than a peach cobbler. I am so excited about this, I can't even begin to tell you. Of course, this starts with loads of beautiful peaches. I'm going to sprinkle in my brown sugar and some cornstarch so we get nice and saucy and syrupy in here. And then to make this extra special, I am also going to be adding some vanilla from an actual vanilla bean. Now you could use some vanilla extract, that of course would work, but if it's a special occasion, I always recommend springing for a vanilla bean. You basically just split it with your knife like so, and then use the side of your knife to scrape out the gorgeous seeds. These pack a ton of great flavor. Finally, I'm going to top this mixture with some lemon juice, give it all a good stir, and pour it into a cast iron skillet. Now you could do this in a baking dish, but I seriously think that a cast iron skillet makes everything look way more beautiful. To give my peaches a bit of a head start, I'm going to get them into the oven at 350 degrees Fahrenheit while I get started on my cobbler topping, which actually is just really delicious biscuit dough. So I'm starting with some flour in my bowl. To that, I'm going to add some sugar, some baking powder, and a little bit of salt. I'm going to whisk that all together until it's well combined, and then it is time to add my cold butter. You really want to use cold butter in a biscuit recipe because that's how you get maximum flakiness. Basically, I'm just going to use my hands to break up that butter until I get a coarse crumb texture like this. Next, it is time to slowly add my milk. You want to mix in your milk a little at a time until you get a nice doughy consistency, and that's how you know it is time to get this on top of your peaches. We're going to remove our peaches carefully from the oven and basically just grab pieces of dough and pinch them on top of your cobbler. It doesn't have to be too uniform. You just want to create a nice layer of biscuity goodness. Now for our final step, to ensure that our biscuit topping gets a nice golden brown color, we're just going to brush on a little bit of egg wash and sprinkle on some granulated sugar. We're gonna put this back in the oven for between 15 and 20 minutes or until that biscuit dough is nice and golden and this stuff is ready to be devoured. Guys, seriously, when this cobbler comes out of the oven, you are gonna gobbler up. Oh yeah, basically irresistible. Guys, these are 3 deliciously decadent ways to celebrate summer fruit, so I hope you'll give them a try. If you do, don't forget to tweet me, Instagram me, or Snapchat me a photo because I always love seeing your kitchen creations. Keep in mind, all of the recipes are in the description box below, so you can take a look for them there. And finally, if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe because there is lots more dessert deliciousness where this came from. It's true.